All right, so let me zoom out a little bit. So for problem number 17, let me read this to you guys. It says that Winnie measured the length of her father's ranch 4 times and got 4 different distances. Her measurements are shown in the table below. So the first time she measured it, she got the square root of 60. The second time she measured it, she got 58 over 8. And then the third time she got 7.3 repeating, and then the fourth time she got 7 3/5. So it says, estimate the actual length. When he first approximated each distance to the nearest hundredth, then she averaged all 4 numbers using a calculator. Find her estimate. So the average is just the sum of all these things divided by the total number of measurements. Okay, so let me find my pen here. So to find the average, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the square root of 60. I got a bunch of gobbledygook on my pen here. I need to get rid of. So I'm going to take the square root of 60. That's a weird thing going on there. The square root of 60 plus 58 over 8 plus 7.3 repeating plus 7 3/5. And I'm going to take all that stuff and divide it by 4. That's how you get the average. I'm dividing by 4 because I have 4 measurements. So the first thing is I'm going to do the numerator first. So grab your calculator, and well, hopefully we can convert this to a decimal. So I'm going to say the square root, right? Square root. You guys know how to enter that in the calculator now? Okay. 60. Can you see that okay? Plus, now I'm just going to, oops, I got to get out of there, so I'm going to have to delete that and then leave. Plus 58 divided by 8 plus 7.3 repeating. It said they rounded to the nearest hundredth, so you would say 7.33, right? Because that's to the hundredth place. Plus 7. Now I'm going to do this a little different. Plus 3 divided by 5. So that's my 7 3/5, right? So do you know when you say 7 3/5, you're really saying 7 plus 3/5. So I'm going to hit equals, and I get this number, 29.25. So on my numerator, I'm going to say 29.92. It's a tough one because I could say 0.93. So we're rounding to the hundredths, and then all of that gets divided by 4. Okay. So now on my next step on my calculator, I'm going to round it, and I'm going to say 29.93 divided by 4. So the average is about 7.48. So let me double check the back of the book. I think they had 0.49, and it could just be because we rounded. No, that was right. 7.48. So now, because we did some rounding, what you want to do is you do a squiggly equal sign. That means that it's an approximate value. 7.48 kilometers, right? Because we're measuring kilometers. Okay? Did that help you guys? That's a lot of steps. Okay? Well, let's do part B. Were there any questions before I move on to part B? All right, so Winnie's father estimated the distance across his ranch as the square root of 56. How does this compare to Winnie's estimate? So what do we need to do, guys? What do you think? How about we find out what the square root of 56 is? So on your calculator, hit second and then the square root symbol 56. He got 7.48 as well. It's a little bit off. He's just a little bit bigger than hers. So you could say, how would I word that? His estimate is 7.4833. Winnie's is 7.4825. And you could say slightly longer. What did the back of the book say?
They said it's like it'd be the same, pretty much, because they're approximately.
Yeah. So if the back of the book, and now here's the thing that I want you to think about. If the back of the book says they're the same, where did they get that information from? Well, yeah, mathematician dudes. No, remember, they're saying that she rounded to the hundredths, right? So his, if you round it to the hundredths and you round hers to the hundredths, it's 7.48. Either way, right? So you could call them the same. Now, is Mr. Adams going to be upset if you write it the way that I write it and then it's not exactly the way it's written in the back of the book? No, I want you to understand that these are approximations and estimates, and I want you to think about, is it a little bit bigger? If you round it, is it the same? I want you just thinking about it mathematically, okay? Are there any questions before we move on to the next thingy that we need to?
Can I give you a quick question?
Not right now, I'm recording.